What's up, Rubits? Little Big Robots back with another video. Doing kind of a weird one today because I just was going to go over some kind of a little update, I guess. If you don't know me, if you haven't followed me before, let me explain a real thing real quick. If you have followed me for a while, you know I've talked about this a million times ad nauseum. People are probably sick of it, but for many years, probably since 2010 or 11, I don't know, maybe somewhere around there, I've been maintaining what I call kind of a digital life timeline, and it's essentially, think of if you were born and you kept a diary or an online a blog, and so if something happened, you'd say, like, you know, the date, and then you'd say first day of school, and then you'd say, you know, let's say you had something like that and you had kept that for your entire life in a digital form. Because some of you at this point are old enough, young enough, I should say, to have grown up right at the beginning of really when the internet was getting popular and everything in the 2000s. It's so weird. Those kids are now 24. And so let's say you kept this blog and you had it for all these years. You would have kind of a running timeline of your life in digital form. Well, I didn't keep a blog until probably 2001 or so. So around that time. It wasn't an everyday thing. It was to keep up with my band's touring, stuff like that. And I didn't really, I wasn't big on dating everything, meaning I would not put an exact date on everything, which is a real shame because I had to go back later and investigate a bunch of stuff. So for the past probably 5 years, really, I've really concentrated on getting that digital timeline done. And I pretty much have done it to where I don't have, of course, every day of my life, but I have, let's say, a photo from when I was a kid. I would research where that photo was taken, and in a private diary entry or whatever, I would put the location, what happened, what I remember. I'd ask my mother about it if I needed to, et cetera, et cetera. So I had a huge, and we're talking millions of words, blog that if I were to print out was something like 5,000 pages or whatever. It was insane. It was really insane. So you can take that online diary in a blog form, for example, in a WordPress file or something like that, in a WordPress export. You can go to a site, and that site will turn it into a PDF for you. Then you have a PDF that you can put on your e-readers or whatever. It'll have a table of contents that you can refer to. You can press that date in the table of contents, and it takes you to the blog. All that stuff. So I was really happy with finally getting all that done, but I knew it was just too much because essentially what I am on, what my kind of final kick here is that I am on an 85-year plan with my life. That's my hope, meaning that I have officially turned 50 years old in June of 24. Which was a big milestone for me, like it would be for anybody. I feel great. I feel like I'm doing well in life. I'm happily married. We're doing okay financially. Everything's fun. You know, we don't have any debt, that kind of good stuff. And so I wanted to say at age 50, I think my hope is that my least hope is that I would live to be 85 years old. It sounds really morbid and whatever, but it's actually quite fun planning this stuff out. You know how some people plan for their retirement and everything, and they get really into stocks and bonds. I think that more people should plan for their older years concerning their digital imprint, their digital footprint in the world, in other words, or even just their physical footprint, their items and stuff like. So a lot of people will plan on their finances and all that, but they don't necessarily plan on their well-being or their mental health or whatever for when they're older. And that's what I'm kind of doing with this. So now that I'm 50, the 35-year plan will end at age 85, if I even make it to that. If I make it beyond that, then that's just all golden years. I'm just having a good time. Hopefully I'm not, I'm still physically and mentally together, you know. So, but anyway, so now that I'm 50, what I wanted to do is I took that entire digital timeline and I said, you know, this is too much. I don't have kids. I want to be able to kind of pass this little kind of self-contained sum-uppance of my life and pass it on to friends and family, like 50 people, and tell them, pass this on to somebody else, you know, make sure that when I go, I'm not completely forgotten, which of course will happen with all of us once the universe ultimately dies, a cold death in about quadrillion, trillion years. So it was a fun conversation. But I actually really enjoy thinking about that kind of stuff. Again, I know it's morbid, and I know that it's not fun for a lot of people to think about, and I'm not knocking that at all. But for myself, I find it actually quite comforting to think about the almost even number of 35, the very easy to remember number, the very compact number of 35. So I said, you know what I'm going to do is, since it's my 50th year, I'm going to do my top 50 favorite movies, my top 50 favorite albums, musical albums, my favorite 50 photos from my life, because I've taken literally probably 30,000 photos, digital and physical, which is insane, but a lot of people have that these days because they just constantly take photos. My 50 favorite videos that I've made, and some other topics like that, and put them up on the digital blog, the life kind of thing, and then have that as a PDF along with most of my normal writings on the blog. I have some fictional works. I wrote a book that I'll kind of attach as a PDF or whatever. And, so after I've got that done, I'll be able to then, at the end of each year, so in June of next year, of 25, when I turn 51, I'll go back for the year past, and I'll pick my favorite album of that year, my favorite toy of that year, and I'll add it on the list. So the eventual hope is that when I am done, I will have let's say at age 85, if I survive that long, or if this even hangs out, if the world survives, if I even want to do it anymore at age 85, I have no idea. But let's say I do, at 85, I will have a great lists and sum-uppance of my life and writings and feelings, without it being 5 quadrillion pages, because no one wants to read that. No one wants to read about me anyway. So this is just for kind of like a time capsule type of project. It's just really, really fun. So anyway, having said all that, and thank you for sticking around if you've listened that far, the big one I'm on is my top 50 toys. So I have 50 toys I have to pick out that are my favorite. Now, this is something that I've thought a lot about. I keep those yellow legal pads, that you have. You can get cheap through Amazon or the Target or whatever. And I love those things because they're great for sketching out ideas, writing down ideas, excuse me, and keeping lists, keeping to-do lists and stuff. I just like a physical pad. And so I've been just writing. I would just write on there, maybe this toy, maybe that toy. And then I finally sat down on the blog and I created a rough draft page with the 50 in there, as well as the white whale toys that I'm still have yet to get, because it's not guaranteed all those white whale toys will make it onto the top 50 list. So I'm going through it. I'm like at 47 and stuff. I have some really simple ones, like some obvious ones, like this Brawn Transformer. I am not a Transformer guy. Doesn't mean I don't like Transformers. For the most part, that I find that Transformers, because of the transformation, or the robot version, which is my favorite, or the vehicle version, if the vehicle version is really cool. Brawn here happens to be cool in both aspects. It makes for a robot that's not very good. Like, I love the character RC, the female pink Transformer, but a lot of her motorcycle and stuff transformations are so weird that she'll have these giant wheels on her back and stuff like that. So this guy is just absolutely perfect. He's just a chunky, because they made a vehicle that is not based in like an Earth design, so they were able to make a vehicle that makes the robot come out looking cool. So stuff like this was really easy to pick out. I have stuff like this that is probably one of my favorite things of all time. Rahio, let me see, where's my camera on this one? Rahio, look, it's got a little bloop. So this is a 1/60 scale modular set line. I've covered these a million times. They come from China. Somebody suggested they were knockoffs of what's it called? Diaclone. I'm not really seeing that. I don't think that with Diaclone you can take every little piece apart and put it. I don't believe you can. Now, granted, I've always wanted to get into Diaclone, but they're so expensive that it's one of those ones that if I got into it, I'd have to cut out some other of my fun little cheap lines and stuff I like. So, but it's just such a wonderful. It's inexpensive. You can get a little kit like this for $14. Big Bad Toy Store has the one that's slightly larger. This for $15, I think, right now, something like that. Stuff like this is a given. I'm just sitting here playing with it on my desk. I'm like, oh, this is so fun. Like the joints stay stiff. It's got a neat little realistic kind of design. It's a really just a fun line, and you can mix and match the entire line with all of it mixes and matches. You can make these giant monstrosities if you want. You can do all sorts of stuff. So this is a given. So some of those are just givens. The Rihio, and I picked this specific Rihio kit. There are larger ones. You might be able to see back there somewhere. There are more exciting ones or whatever, but this is just a perfect little encapsulation of joy. Just a boop, and you've got a little kit. You can give that to anybody. They could build it. Everybody knows this is a little robot. Everybody could open it up and see the little dude goes in there. They come with little pilots, little 1/60 scale pilots. Just a silly, fun, great kit with a dash of reality in there, which I really like. I like when a robot kind of feels like it could actually happen in real life. That's the fun of this stuff. So there's certain given ones like that, and there's some that I'm just having to go, I don't know if I like that one that much. I don't know if I like this one that much. So what I'm finding is that if I have a favorite line, it's hard to pick maybe my favorite one. And then in some cases, it's really easy. For example, on my 1/25th scale Joy Toy mechs, which are just a great, I love Joy Toy. I think it's just a great company. This particular one here that a lot of people don't like, it is the Iron Wrecker. I can't remember what it is. He has the ball jointed waist. A lot of people don't like that. He doesn't have ratchety arms and legs. They're just held together by tension, kind of like a Gundam kit. They're not super tight. But there's something about that perfect mech that can fit 1/18 as well as 1/25th scale and others in between. It's got a beautiful interior of wires. You could easily add some lights and stuff. It's not a huge mech. They're 14, 15 foot tall or whatever it would be in the quote unquote real world. So there's so much to love about those Joy Toys, and that particular one really, really spoke to me. I've noticed that a lot of people, for their favorites, will always pick the most expensive or the most elaborate or this or that. But I have learned to trust my gut that what I like is specific to me, and I wish more YouTubers would really do that. Instead of covering everything in the line, they would concentrate more on telling me about why they like that particular toy, why they like that particular line, instead of necessarily just speaking of the facts about the line, like saying it's made of plastic and it poses like this. And I want to hear more passion from people. So I'm working on that right now. I have, like I said, about 46, 47 pretty solid picks, but I have a feeling that's gonna move around. I don't know if I'll ever reopen my blog, my digital life kind of blog, to public anymore, because it's a really fun personal thing. But I might, some of my favorite viewers I've known for years, I might pick out some of those and say, hey, can I email you a copy of this, so that if I die tomorrow, there'll be some little bit of me left in the world, because there's not much. It's funny, if you ever Google yourself or ever search up yourself or consider your imprint on the world, you really will start to see how little bit of a mark on the world you have made, or you will see how large of a mark you made, how impactful your life was. For me, I think about it every single day, not because I'm morbid or I'm obsessed or anything with death or anything like that. And I've always thought about it since I was a kid, but because I knew that time was finite. You could live to be 20,000 years old, and time will still end for you. You still have to face the same final curtain call that we all do, which is such a fun topic. But I don't think you need to be, granted, I'm speaking from a place of, not, I don't want to say extreme privilege or anything like that, but I'm relatively healthy and happy, so not everybody has that. But I think that I should be kind of the default. I think humans we should consider a baseline, not just having a house and a little food. It should also be being happy. Anyway, I just find that if you think about it, you plan on it and stuff like that, especially retirement, stuff like that, it's not nearly as scary as people think. You've really got to kind of approach it that way, as kind of a matter-of-fact way, and plan. And this is part of my plan, is so that when I'm older, I'll have some peace of mind, maybe, if it works out, thinking that some digital part of me will survive into the world and will continue on even after I'm long gone. Nothing but dust. So anyway, let me know if you have any favorites or whatever that you've seen in my collection, because I'll consider that. I actually, my cats are trying to get the birds. I actually have so many that I know I'm going to have to revise the list. But I think when you want to do a big project like this, the best thing you can do is to edit or to force yourself to work within some boundaries, like only 50. Don't do 150. You'll just be there for, I mean, I've got 150 toys. I can name every single toy in my shelves, probably 150. So, it's good to kind of force yourself to think hard and make some hard choices like that. So anyway, kind of a weird little thing I wanted to point out for this Wednesday or Thursday or whatever it is. I'll talk to you later, though. Have a good one, all right? You do that. You there. Bye.